What the world? Oh, man!
SHW. This is our wrestling.
Unbelievable.
You think you could walk all over me, but I don't see that happening. We're warriors.
This crowd is going ballistic.
We told you anybody could show up here tonight.
The Lynch Mob are your first ever SHW Tag Team Champions.
You're kidding me.
And listen to this crowd. They're loving it. Joe Black is your RumbleJack 2020 winner.
Unbelievable.
This is insane.
You get a moonsault, and you get a moonsault, and you get a moonsault.
And now, the voices of Southern Honor Wrestling, Brandon Benefield and Gerard Bonner.
Hey everybody, what's going on? It's me, B-Double. It's my broadcast partner, GB Gerard Bonner. And this weekend, we're bringing you a very special edition of SHW This Is Our Wrestling podcast. We have a very special guest, GB. Why don't you tell the fine folks who we're talking to today?
We have a very special guest hanging out with us. And, normally when we're talking to folks, they are directly part of the SHW roster. However, we had a special guest hanging out with us at the SHW RumbleJack backstage. You guys didn't know it. Quite frankly, we didn't know it till we went backstage and we ran across former WWE IMPACT NWA superstar Elijah Burke, a.k.a. The Pope. He was hanging out, and guess what? He's our special guest on the podcast today.
Absolutely, and I got to tell you, man, this guy, I could listen to this guy talk for hours. I mean, he is such an interesting person and so smart, and just, if you're in the business and you're an up-and-comer in the business, this is a guy to get advice from. I mean, he is just a wealth of knowledge. I mean, it's unbelievable. So we had a great time talking to him here just a little while ago. So let's check it out. It's our conversation with Elijah Burke, the Pope. Check it out.
All right, guys, we have a very, very special opportunity for you. We normally don't do a lot of cool stuff in terms of audio things, but we've got something really special for you. We ran into this amazing superstar backstage at the most recent SHW event, SHW RumbleJack. And when we did, it just made all kinds of sense to have him on with us. He is an industry veteran. He's been all over the place, WWE, Impact, the NWA, and we're honored to have him with us here. This is going to be fun, I promise you. Elijah Burke, a.k.a. The Pope, is hanging out with us. Pope, how are you, sir?
I'm just as good as Pope could ever be, just chilling, like I said, hanging and banging as always, doing what Pope does. And right now, Pope is doing a lot of what everybody else is doing, and that's just handling this pandemic and this quarantining and everything else that's going on. A little bit more flexible now, but hell, for somebody that's traveling to and fro to wrestle in the rings and entertain the audience, not much going on there.
No, understood. So we've been asking a lot of people, and I've got to ask you this, how are you maintaining during this pandemic? Because obviously it hit the wrestling business like it hit every other business in a really, really crazy way. How have you been managing during this?
Well, I think the first part of managing my situation, my life, my business is that you establish business as we'll probably get into with the whole WWE Eat It. You establish business outside of business.
Yes.
So it's what I tell a lot of guys who are coming into the business or who wants to break into the business. Pope always informed them to have a backup plan, have something else in mind, something else side to side that you can deal with. So when it comes to what Pope is doing, Pope goes into autopilot. When a little turbulence happens, you just go into autopilot, and when I'm in autopilot, everything takes care of itself.
Awesome. I love that. And so have you been paying attention to the product in general in terms of wrestling? I know WWE's been doing some things during the pandemic. AEW has. A few other companies are starting to get back into things. Have you been paying attention to wrestling at all during this weird 4 to 5 month period?
Well, to much to my dismay, yes. Obviously, I have my own podcast, Pope's Point of View, and I therefore have to stay up on everything that is going on with each product, so that way I can give my view on said product. So yeah, I've been keeping up with everything, man.
And what are you thinking of this? Because again, there's been a lot of opinions, and we have our own thoughts on what the wrestling business has been doing in terms of WWE, AEW, New Japan, etc. What do you think, Impact? What do you think about the content that has been released from these companies?
Well, there's the key. You said Impact, and I didn't know you were going to include Impact in all the other companies. So, no, I have not seen Impact, but that's only because that's not a knock on Impact.
Sure.
I see some highlights and things that are going on with them from social media and on Twitter and whatnot. But other than that, I'm unable to watch them. I don't get that channel, and I'm not going to pay that channel to. That's not happening here.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I get it. And so your thoughts on what WWE and AEW is doing?
Well, I think that WWE and AEW, it's just funny. It is so funny because, number one, AEW found a way to make the pandemic crowdless arena work. Okay. So they found a way to make it work, and it actually began to play to their advantage when they put out the performers around the ring. I'm not really big on that, but you do what you got to do. So they put them around the ring, and it gave the product life. More life than it had. It gave it a little spark, and it also made it more of a show than what we were getting inside the Performance Center with WWE. So around about April, right after WrestleMania, on Pope's Point of View, which is on all applicable podcast platforms.
Yes, sir.
Not a cheap plug, by the way, but
it is what it is.
It is what it is. You got to know. But
yes, sir.
I said on my broadcast, I said that, hey, look, WWE has to, when the NBA came back, what was it, June, I believe. I said WWE, and I was saying it before this, right after WrestleMania, they got to put in a green screen. They got to add in some virtual fans, and I see it happening. And then all of a sudden, NBA starts back up, and they got theirs going.
Right.
And then I said again on my podcast, WWE, they're going to go that route, and they're going to do it better now. You know why? Because someone did it before them, and they're the second. Oftentimes that could happen. Not all the time. There'll never be another Michael Jackson. There'll never be another Hogan. There'll never be another Flair. But sometimes things can be emulated or redone, remanufactured, and made better than the original. And that was the case with WWE's idea or ideology behind Thunderdome. And so they come up with Thunderdome, and it's the same way how ESPN came out with the Michael Jordan and the Bulls documentary, and they weren't going to release it then, but they said, we're going to release it, and because we're in the middle of a pandemic, we can get so much more out of this if we release 1 part, 2 part, 3 part, make it a mini series. And they did that. And then guess what WWE did? They were going to release the Undertaker documentary, but they said, oh no, hey, let's follow their lead. And they did it in parts. So I felt compelled to question why the quote unquote leader in sports entertainment all of a sudden became a follower. But sometimes that's just the way things roll, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I even noticed that with AEW, bringing out the like you said, the performers from the back, the undercard folks out there around the ring, and then WWE started doing that with like the NXT talent, bringing them out around the ring too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I thought that was crazy. The same thing you just said. I'm like, they're supposed to be the top dog here, and it seems like they're kind of following suit with what Tony Khan and those guys are doing. It kind of threw me off a little bit.
Well, I mean, anytime you're in a competitive environment, even though it's rarely acknowledged by WWE, they're obviously aware. They obviously pay attention to what is going on the other channel, even though they'll say no, we don't. Even though the others will say no, we don't watch WWE. That's a lie. Okay. Sure, TNA was saying the same thing. There was a big monitor backstage right at the gorilla position, and they're watching. Right before I get ready to go out and do my match, so it's like, come on, man. But they obviously are going to borrow and get ideas and take ideas from others. And when they came out with the Thunderdome, it was like, okay, that's what was needed for their product to help it, instead of having an empty arena or with the little crowd in there. But also the big part to that was the fact that Vince, as Vince always does, say, hey, I got to get my main products out of this performance center. If I put us back in an arena in that big environment, see, you can't make something small.
Yeah.
Appear big.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or big time. You just can't do it. It's the reason TNA had to get out at the time of the Impact Zone and get in some buildings. Once you got in some buildings, then you were able to give a bigger presentation. The feel changed, the look changed. But as long as you stayed in that small, I don't care how much lights and glimmer and smoke and mirrors, it doesn't matter. You could not make Impact look any bigger than what it was inside the Impact Zone. So they had to get out, and Vince realized that, and so therefore he went out and got the Amway Center, and took a lease on it and put that Thunderdome up in there, which was the best thing they could have done for the product, because now at least you got the cheers and the boos and all that audio added into it. At least you could see the people on screen making, movement, noise, even though we're not getting sound from them. But
right. So the one thing you gotta be careful about, though, and I think WWE is figuring this out, is you got all these internet trolls that are going to try to get on the Thunderdome on screen and do something crazy, and they're figuring that out. That obviously that's going to happen.
Well, I when they announced that was the first thing that I talked to my point of viewers about, and I said, Lord, after we saw the first edition and we saw the Fire Velveteen Dream sign, and what else did we see? Was it a KKK member?
They had that. They had Chris Benoit.
My old friend Chris Benoit. Yeah,
Kenny Omega was showing up.
Yeah, Kenny. So anytime you're in that type of environment, as where you got a team that has to handle multiple, I don't know, that might be about 300 to 500 people, 350 to 500. So they got to monitor that, and then they're trying to constantly switch people in and out. But once a show is started, I doubt people, and I don't know this, but they got a lot of fans around the world, so they got to punch them in and punch them out. At least that was the game plan, to keep everybody involved. But kudos to those guys. I'm not sitting in front of a doggone camera to get on no doggone electronic panel. Who the That's some loyalty, ain't it?
It really is, because when you look at the arena, they literally have those all over the arena, and so the possibility that you'd actually even be seen on television is infinitesimal. So it's
and I think that's the draw to the average fan. Is not the average fan. I hate to use the term mark. I don't ever like really using that, because we're all marks.
Yeah.
Okay. But there are some that's more so of a mark than the rest of us. Okay.
Sure.
And for those, anybody, it's crazy. It's the new norm now. We are seeing the future now. It's crazy the way things can and may become.
Yeah.
I've spoken about hell. We got to acknowledge the fact that today is September the 11th, okay? Yes. And it's 9/11. So we certainly do not omit, the historical nature of what this day means to America 19 years ago. 2,977 people lost their lives. So many more died afterwards from lingering effects. So But in looking at that, and in looking at America's safety and this and that and the other, don't you know, if we're just like with this pandemic, if China or oh Lord, I sound like Trump. China.
You didn't say China. You gotta. You said it right.
China. Yeah. So, I'll be the best president. But anyways, if the people that are outside of the U.S. looking in want to know how to defeat or how to cause this great country to fall, all they have to do is watch social media and all of the stupidity of our people who refuse to follow guidelines for their own safety. What if that was actually, and we don't know, we only know what we're told. What if that was something that was actually sent over here to kill us? What if that was created as a biochemical weapon of sorts?
Wow.
See, people are the most self-righteous. Nobody knows you better than you, but here's the issue. You don't know anybody else. And we just had a whole, I know I'm shifting the conversation. Pope's going
It's
into
all
the,
good.
so we'll come right back out.
All good.
We have a whole slew of I don't know, what's the new word? It's not millennial. Isn't there another one?
Oh, it's the.
I know you know, Booker.
Gen Z. I think Gen Z is after millennials. I think that's right.
Okay, well, let's go with Gen Z. How about
Let's go with that.
Yeah, Gen Z, because they're on their way to being zombies anyways. These morons, you can't tell them nothing. And you got college kids that are, I just read it, and you know, they're on campus and they have a whole house party. They say, hell, we all got COVID anyways, but then they don't think about nobody else but themselves.
Right.
And people are actually dying. Listen to me, guys. I have had death in and around my family. It is nothing to play with.
Yeah. Yeah. I can completely relate. We had some loss in our family as well because of this COVID situation. It is extremely real, and it has had a huge impact on a lot of people. Since we're here, let me ask you this, because a couple of major movements from society also impacted the world of pro wrestling, whether it was the Black Lives Matter movement or the Speaking Out movement. What are your thoughts on those? Because they've definitely we've seen people fired from companies, suspended from companies, et cetera, et cetera. What are your thoughts on both of those topics?
In what regard?
In terms of how wrestling should respond, because the Black Lives Matter movement has its own era with it in terms of the world of pro wrestling and whether there's racism happening or not, and we can throw names in there, et cetera, et cetera. And then on the Speaking Out side of things, how women are being treated in the world of pro wrestling. What are your thoughts on all of that?
Well, here from the Black Wrestlers Matter movement, I'll go that path.
I like it.
Obviously, there's been a systematic racist sort of handling of Black professional wrestlers throughout the industry. You know, go all the way back to, you know, Tony Atlas being Saba Simba, Kamala being a Ugandan giant, and you know, the come forward to your time, Crime Time being gangbangers, and you know, so what I did and what I wanted to do when I was there was not just only be myself, but if I'm going to change, I'm going to become something that is myself, but amplified 10 times more. And that's what I wanted to do with the Pope. Who's heard of a Black Pope before? You know, I wanted to be something positive. I wanted to be something different. I didn't want to be a reverend. That's so stereotypical. I didn't want to be a deacon. That's so stereotypical. So even then I was dealing with the whole, I'm not just a Black performer type thing. You know, I'm not going to be relegated into these little black roles. You understand what I'm saying? I was a boxer. So when I came in, that's what I was. That's what they used, and they told my story, which I'm very appreciative too. But back to the Black Wrestlers Matter, and sticking with me for a second, not tooting my own horn, but even down in Impact Wrestling in 2010, when I was supposed to become the champion after facing AJ in the steel cage at Lockdown, that very day at the arena, someone said, no, we can't go this route, you know, and so therefore I didn't become the TNA World Champion because of, you know, and there was a lot of people around the table, apparently, and apparently I was told they took a vote. Why was that? It was because we were in a head-on-head, if you want to call it a war, I call it a slaughter, with WWE. And, you know, I guess having a black guy at the top of your card was not going to help you, in your opinion, in the ratings. But what they didn't understand was that was the best thing they could have done at the time, because it would have been something different. It was something new, and everybody would have tuned in to see, you know, Impact Wrestling's, you know, black champion, which is very, very rare. I spoke about Kofi's movement with WWE. The fans forcing their hand. Okay, and Vince is never going to turn down money. Vince is never going to turn down money. So he went with it. It was like, okay, you know, our guy that we have, he's hurt, he's out, and I have full confidence that they were, if he weren't going to win it, they were certainly going with Ali. Okay. Mustafa. And I can't say whether or not he was going to beat Daniel, but I know he was going to be there. But I could see why Vince then would have done that. You know why? Because they have this whole contractual obligation and stuff with the Saudis.
That's right.
So that was a business, again, man, like when you're in the business, and when you've learned the right way, it's like playing a game of spades. You don't have to know what the person have in their hands. All you have to know is what's already been played, and you know what's in their hand.
That's right.
That's a black thing, Brandon. Don't worry about it.
I appreciate you letting me know.
Fish and poker and all that stuff. But he's like, spades, what the hell is that? What? Spades? So it was very clear that Vince was they were going to push this Ali to the moon. Yeah. And a lot of things that we've seen over the past year or so has been a direct effect or side effect of WWE's commitment to Saudi Arabia, you know, being over there. So Kofi winning was a good thing to happen. We all were us in the black community, we were all very moved and happy and touched and everything else. But after that moment, for me, that was it. Come on, Booker, talk to me. Ask me why.
Please tell us why.
It's because the unawareness of our people. It's just like with the Black Lives Matter movement. You know, remember this happened a couple of years ago where we were out in full force. Okay, right. We're out in full force, and all of a sudden, we make some leeway. We get the officers arrested. This happened, that, and then it's celebration time. Yeah. And then we're done. The movement stopped. It paused.
Yeah, you're right.
When Kofi won, that was it.
Yeah.
You begin to see it all simmer and go away. Now watch this. Brandon, the reason I'm talking about it in this manner is because while the brother who's a good friend, very good friend of mine, me and him traveled together, we roomed together. That was my boy. I whooped him mercifully, 10 years straight in Madden. And he finally won one time on up, down, little bastard. But when he got there, he's always going to, personally, that's like, hey man, champ. You're a champ. You know, you're a modern day champ. You're
Right.
modern day Ron Simmons for a lot of these kids, a lot of folk who never seen a black champion.
Right.
But just like with Ron Simmons, just like with Kofi,
Yeah.
when were they ever the man?
Right. Right.
That's the issue.
That
It's
is
not
the issue.
WWE had no choice but to put the title on him for fear of backlash.
Right. Right.
But when was he the guy? When was he the man? Brandon, name one time he closed out a WWE pay-per-view during that 6-month, 5-month run.
That's a good question. I can't think of one.
He did.
Mhm. Yeah.
He did.
And
So-
even the opponents that they fed him, like they didn't give him marquee. I mean, no knock to Dolph Ziggler, but he ended up fighting Dolph Ziggler for a few months, and nobody ever expects Dolph Ziggler at this stage in his career to win the world title. So he was not given those opportunities either. And to your point, they obviously didn't trust him to be the man, which is problematic.
And you know, that's something that they obviously already had in their mind, and you know, like Kofi, like Kofi Kingston, you know, but you know, we're gonna make him we're gonna put the belt on him, and I'm sure it was a congratulatory moment, you know, and I'm sure Vince made this decision, and you know, and all those guys in the upper brass, but I just feel like he was never the guy. He was not close, and that's not all on WWE. That's not all on WWE. Because if for instance, Dolph Ziggler, as you mentioned, Dolph has had all the tools. I don't care how, even now, you know, Dolph has all the tools to be, you know, gosh, you know, I always looked at him as a modern day Mr. Perfect.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, so he has all the tools as well. But it's all according to how management sees you. And I don't know how they necessarily viewed Kofi, but when you talk about the opponents that Kofi was fed, and I do know he had this thing with Randy Orton, but who else could they have gave Kofi to go over on? You know, when you look at the WWE champion list, outside of Daniel Bryan, who is smaller than Kofi, you know, who else on that list is, you know, that small,
right?
You know, at least sometimes they do try to stick with the believability factor.
Yeah.
Do we see Kofi standing next to? And I don't know if this is a how we can say they cause him to look, or if it's just the way that he looks. Okay, we can say booking, or we can say it is what it is. So I'm somewhere down the middle.
Okay.
You know, when you look at Bray Wyatt and you put Kofi in there against the Fiend, like, who are you expecting to win?
Right.
You put Kofi in there against Braun Strowman, who are you expecting? Like, really? Immediately, you don't want to say it, but immediately you're saying the Fiend. Immediately you're saying Braun Strowman. Because, you know, one is because of how their characters have been built, how it's been handled, but and their size and everything, you know. So it's like, you know, I don't know, man. And I had this conversation with some of my other black wrestlers and people of color, and you know, you got Triple H, you got Orton, you got Batista. You have all of these guys. I'm just trying to name some off the top. I don't even know. John Cena.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. Even though Kofi kind of fell into the championship spot, and he earned it. Let me be clear about that.
Mm-hmm.
He earned it. Kofi is the most dependable, the most nicest, coolest. Go out there and do whatever you need me to do person, and he gets it done. So he
Yeah.
earned it from that aspect. From a managerial point of view, I think he just kind of fell into it, like I said before. And I don't know. I guess I'll ask you: do you think the moment was too big for him?
I don't know. I definitely think he earned that moment. But even to your point, and this was something that I wrestled with even when it happened at WrestleMania, under most circumstances, your show closes with a WWE title match. This would be the WrestleMania that they decided to make history and let the women close. And it's not knocking the women at all, but the WWE title match ended up almost mid-card at a WrestleMania.
I think that's timing. They already had the plan to go with the women, and the only reason, isn't it crazy that the women's movement is on life support since Ronda left?
It is crazy. Then you have Ronda gone, you have Becky gone, you have Charlotte gone. It's really, and I think they haven't figured out how do we keep it moving, which is another discussion for another time.
It just takes a couple of folk to be rubbed the wrong way on Twitter, and the Twitter police will come out there, and all of a sudden, ask good old JR from All Out,
Oh my gosh!
Right? Wow.
These self-entitled Gen Z or Gen X or get the hell out, whatever you want to call them, they are just too much in my opinion. Get a life. But when it comes to the women's movement, and while the women are still being featured, it's not a focal point like it was when Ronda came in. And that whole women's movement was put around Ronda. She was the Hogan. She was the Hulk Hogan
That's true.
of that women's movement. And then she leaves. And while the women are still being featured, it's just that something that was there is no longer there. It's not the same. And it's not just because of the pandemic.
Right. No, I totally agree. Okay, so I wanna pivot a little bit, because your career has been really quite amazing. And we were talking before we got on. Most people, their peak is in WWE. For you, it was post WWE, be it with Impact or even your time with the NWA and things like that. In your assessment, what do you think it was that allowed you to have the kind of career that grew post WWE when that's not the story for most?
The same thing that allowed you and I to be on here doing what we're doing right now, freedom.
Wow.
Freedom.
Wow.
In the WWE, and you guys know this by just watching the product today, everything is so everything is just so manufactured.
Yes.
It's like I don't know. The reason a guy like Braun Strowman, or not Braun, he's big, but like Bray Wyatt is going to be around and make some money is because he thought outside the box.
Yes.
There's nobody up there thinking outside the box. However, if there's a box, the old gimmick box that's been talked about for zillions of years, then that's the only thing coming out of it, because it takes WWE to put a gimmick on someone. But even when they go out there and they're in the ring, there's nothing different. I was talking about this. I'm going to get back to your initial question. I was talking, don't forget it either, because Pope will.
I got you. I got you.
But there's so many people that go out there. They're in a gimmick, right? But there's nothing about what they're doing in the ring supports the gimmick. They don't do anything to support how they. So I'm going to come out here dressed. Oh gosh, I don't want to use that example. I was going to go King Kong route. I just said it, so I guess I will. I'm going to come out dressed in a King Kong suit. I'm going to walk to the ring, and I'm going to get in the ring, and then I'm going to start, doing
Right.
It's suicide times. Damn it.
Right.
So I'm like, wait a minute. Why haven't I just crushed my opponent and dropped him on his freaking head, got on the middle rope and started banging my chest? Like,
Right.
there's nothing, like, keep me in the loop.
Yeah.
It's not just calling a move. So, okay, so instead of a suicide dive, we're going to call it a Viking dive. No,
Mhm.
that is not character enhancement.
Right.
The character, the person in the ring has to be that gimmick at some point throughout the matchup, and we don't see that. Ric Flair was cocky. He was into himself. He was flamboyant. He looked like it when he came out there. He wrestled like it. When he got on top, he became cocky, and he strut, and he does his woo. And then when he, as a heel, when he was getting his butt kicked, he didn't just get back up and go to the guy no, he begged off. He cowered. He rolled out of the ring. This is what makes the man so great. I was thinking, hell, don't forget your question. I was thinking, hell, what if Ric Flair from late 80s to early 90s, like, would he work in today's environment?
Wow.
That is something I was thinking about. Really, really. Well, let me tell you something. He would work.
Mm-hmm.
He would work. You know why he would work? Because a 60-year-old Ric Flair worked.
That's true. Yeah. That's true.
Bret Hart would work today.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Benoit would work today.
Yeah.
Because though Mr. freaking Perfect Kurt Hennig would work today.
Absolutely.
Because they, unlike a lot of what we see, they know how to elicit an emotional response. Not a crowd response, but an emotional response. Because you have to get the people invested emotionally.
Yes.
And that's what we don't see enough of. What was your question?
So the question, and I do remember it, the question was, what has allowed you to really be able to have kind of a better and bigger career post WWE when many others can't really say that?
Again, and I started off with Freedom, and I go back to that. We went down. I went down there, man. And here's the crazy part. Much like with anybody coming off of a WWE run, you know how they do, especially at Impact Wrestling at the time. If they could use your name, TNA, they're okay. We're gonna go with it. You know, you're Elijah Burke. Let's go with you're gonna be Elijah Burke. This, that, and the other. Yeah. And there was the Pope I was working on prior to my leaving WWE. And they wanted me to be one way as the Pope. Okay. They wanted to make Pope the old televangelist. And I'm like, hey, no, this is not what Pope is. Mm-hmm. I'm just called Pope. The only thing religious about Pope is the name Pope.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it. If you want to tie it in, that's it. There's no other religious affiliation or connection. Mm-hmm. And so Pope is a hustler. Mm-hmm. That's who Pope is. And later on they in TNA they street preacher or street however they started referring to me as, and I never came up with Pope is pimping. The fans came up with that when I got out there. Yeah. It was amazing. Wow. Why did that happen? Because immediately there was an emotional investment made by the people, and I connected. Yeah. And that's what we need. I don't think people just want to cheer, yay and boo, but man, when you can latch onto someone and their story, when you can latch onto that, then it's so easy. It's so easy. But I went down there, and they were going to call me Elijah Burke. I had a match with Sean Spears before Impact Wrestling, their Impact show, and all of a sudden, Vince is, Jim Cornette's there, Vince Russo's there, and it's like, hey, good stuff, man. All right, you're clear on Elijah Burke. Jim Cornette comes up, he goes, what the hell they're going to call you. You're going to be a face. You're going to be a heel. I don't know what they're going to do with you. And I said, well, I guess I'm going to be a face. Okay, well, good. Because Jim Cornette is the one that gave me my start and my first push in professional wrestling, Ohio Valley Wrestling.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, and he's adamant, and he was always adamant. Like, you got this guy that looks good, he can talk, athletic, this, that, and the other. Like, he's a baby face. Like, if he can get up. I mean, think about this. In Louisville, Kentucky, surrounded by 97% rednecks.
Right.
And you're the most over baby face.
That's
like,
saying
think
something.
about Arn Anderson, who used to agent a lot of my stuff. He will come to me after a meeting, and he's going, "Kid, I'm tired of having to pull you back. I gotta keep you from doing your cool stuff.
Wow.
I'm trying to tell them to make you a baby face, and they won't." So I don't know if you noticed towards the end of my WWE run, and I got it. When me and Arn would talk, I got it.
Yeah.
I stopped doing the outer limits elbow.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I stopped doing it is because anytime, now that don't apply today, obviously. Look at what's going on today. Everybody just trying to do this, that, and the other. The reason I stopped doing the outer limits elbow is because it was the most impressive thing in the match.
Wow.
And as a heel, you never want to outshine your babyface.
Right.
As a heel, you don't want to do something that your babyface can't outperform.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, I wish y'all take that little note, write it down, and pass it along.
Right.
Because that's just psychology.
Yeah.
If I'm a bad guy, man, my job as a heel is to make the people detest me. If I can make them detest me to the point that they feel like they hate me, then that's my job. Mm-hmm. People say kayfabe is dead. No, kayfabe is dead in the eyes of the beholder. It's up to you, bruh.
Yeah.
If you keep kayfabe alive, people abide.
That's right.
People will buy it. So, long story short, after the match, Vince Russo is walking by, and they're going to make me Elijah Burke, and I'm saying, "Hey, Vince, I got something I want to give you. Please check it out. It's 5 minutes. It's 4 minutes, I think. 4 minutes and some seconds." He said, "Here, give it to me." I got my little disc out because I already had the whole Pope promo vignette, and it's crazy because I told a friend, and I don't know if anybody ever got it or whatnot, or anybody else saw it, but it's very, very, very similar to obviously what you guys saw, but I also had the Dark Order around me. If you can imagine. It wasn't Dark Order like that, but it was servants.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Servants.
And I'll keep it right there. And then, I get in the ring and all of that, and they formed the chair. And this is back in 2008.
Yeah, wow.
That I had this done, 2009. So it's very crazy, man. So I showed Vince that, and Vince Russo came out of the office literally like he was hot trotting it. Wow. Bro. You have to be the Pope, bro. Forget Elijah Burke. You have to be the Pope, man. The Pope is money. And I already have your name, bro. You know what it's going to be? Dinero. Because dinero is money, bro. Bro, thank you for showing me that, bro. That was Vince Russo. This was the same day that I just finished wrestling Sean Spears, and lo and behold, you're going to debut at the pay-per-view, and Pope came out, and that was that. And it was just me wanting to be different. Still have characteristics, still, it's Elijah Burke, but just to, man, let me tell you something. Every pound cake, lemon cake, every cake you get that you know what you're getting, it's going to taste just like it. But when you dress it up and present it differently, it's just, you want to savor it. And before you take that bite, you don't want to just go through it.
Right.
So you really, again, we're talking about a connection. We're talking about being emotionally invested. It's just like if you go get a doggone a chicken sandwich. You know, you get a chicken sandwich. You just get a chicken sandwich, and it's just the old McDonald's that just got the old, mayonnaise on top, and that's it.
Right.
Just eat it. You just eat it. You unwrap it. You don't even look at it. It's just go to town.
That's right.
Go get one of those gourmet chicken sandwiches.
Mm-hmm.
Got the lettuce and tomatoes, everything hanging off of it, and it just looks so good. You take you look at it before you actually bite it.
Right.
And then you take your time eating it.
That's right.
Pope is the Pope of the people, man. I got to break it down, keep it in layman's terms so they understand,
For me,
yes. For you.
I get it. I like to eat chicken sandwiches. I get it. I can relate.
Good.
Brandon, did you have something you want to ask?
Man, I'm going to take a big left turn here, and we do that from time to time here on the podcast, but I want to veer into what happened a couple Friday nights ago. We had the big return show for SHW, that's Southern Honor Wrestling, and we had no idea that you were backstage, but we got done calling the show, and we go backstage, and then lo and behold, we see the Pope back there talking to Dylan and talking to some of the guys, and I guess, first of all, I wanted to know how you came to know Dylan, or how you came to know about SHW, and how you ended up at our show on at the RumbleJack a few weeks ago.
Well, I didn't think I was going to have to say this, but
if it's, you don't have to, unless can you say it?
No. You're good. My seamstress. My seamstress.
Oh.
Ricky. I just call her Ricky. But I'll clip this and say, help. Pope, I am not no seamstress. I am a seamster. Well, oh boy, but yeah. So I was in town. Y'all are right up the road, about 6 hours up the road from me, 5.5, something like that. Right. And so I had to come in. I had some family in town. I had to go check on, and I also had to. Since I was there, I wanted to hook up with Rick to go over some new attire, some new gear, and he told me that, hey man, I'm gonna be at this show. If you want to come to the show, you want to come by the house, you want to be at the show? Cool, I can come over there and check it out, and that's kind of how it all started. So so I came on over and ended up staying the whole show. Enjoyed the show. Man, it was the best. And I've been on a couple of independent shows since the relaxing of the rules have taken place. Mm-hmm. So it was very very good. Wow. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the energy. You guys had a very packed crowd. Did y'all see who took a shot at y'all on Twitter? There had to be some rival promotion. Well, sure
there were several. There was a lot of Twitter trolls after the fact, which we kind of knew going in that we were going to hear about it. But I don't know exactly who it was, but I did see several comments.
Well, I mean, it's like I said, it's up to the individuals. You guys speak, social distancing. You even let them set the chairs up so that they can be socially distant. It's up to the individuals to wear their mask. Booker had his mask on.
Sure did.
By the way, I meant to say before I asked you the question, I meant to say, fans, if you're listening and you caught earlier that the Pope referred to GB as Booker, that was because when we went backstage after the show, GB's we're wearing our suits and he's got his hair done up. And what did he tell us how that interaction went? Gerard, tell us how that interaction went.
It was actually quite funny because when I walked back, Pope was in a deep conversation, and Dylan was back there, and I just went to really. Pope mode. You were, and I walked back, and I just went to say hi to Dylan and thank you for the evening, and he was just like, "Wait a minute, y'all didn't tell me Booker T was here." And oh man, I was done, and I was just really trying to just kind of chill. I didn't want to interrupt him or anything, but that's how we ended up meeting, and it was actually hilarious. He even referred to me afterwards as the WrestleMania version of Booker T.
Yes, sir.
So I thought that was really cool. I thought that was really, really cool.
And I said that with the highest regard. That was just a huge compliment.
That meant a lot.
Yeah, that was just the only compliment that I thought that I could give you, so that that was fun, but yet can be received in the manner in which it was given.
Yes.
And this brother, after he shook my hand, I had him to stand back, and he had his mask on. I had my mask back there as well, not while I was talking at that particular time, but I had him take his mask off, and I had to pull an old Vince, like Vince do it. Give him that smile. Let me see that smile. Because I could just tell. I could tell, I saw the big smile under, us black folk, we got these high cheekbones, man. And so when if you got a big smile like myself or like Booker got, then it's like, I want to see it, because I can tell under the mask he's smiling. So I say, man, move your mask so I can see your face and see your smile. And that's kind of how that came about. But I was really caught off guard, because I didn't know that you guys were out there commentating. I didn't know it. And so when he came back, I'm like, who is this? What the hell? And ain't nobody tell me Booker was here. It
was great. It was fantastic. But yeah, I'm really glad that you enjoyed the night, because again, we didn't know you were there, and that's a massive compliment. Was there anything specific for you that kind of stuck out from what you saw that night?
Oh, you want me to put the boys on the spot?
Uh-oh.
I got no problem with it. I'm just saying.
Go for it.
No, well, I mean, the way you guys had the stuff set up, it was very it was formatted good. I mean, you had that big Royal Rumble type match at the end there. Yeah. You had the your 3 matches before that. I missed one of them because I really wanted to see the old Penguin guy, and I didn't get a chance to see his stuff transpire. I can't remember what they call him, but
Tyler Cole Pratt, the guy with the umbrella.
Yeah, I'm talking about the actual character off of Gotham.
Oh,
yeah,
Penguin.
yeah.
But I don't know what his name
Penguin
was on the show.
Mm-hmm.
No, I can't even believe that I don't remember. That was one of my favorite shows. But what was it? AC out there in the first match?
Yes, AC Mack against Chip in the first match. Yeah.
AC, I enjoyed the match. That was the first match that he asked me to watch. So luckily, luckily some guys in the industry still have the wherewithal, who wants to get better, who wants, guys who have made money to actually watch their matches. And he wanted me to watch. And so that was the first match that I watched. I think it was the first match on the card. I told him I'll watch it, and I watched it, and I gave him feedback. And then some others would ask me, hey, would you watch this? Would you watch that? I think obviously Ashton Starr stood out. Ashton Starr. So I want to give him a shout out. He stood out. I had a conversation with him as well. I won't go into specifics, but there's a lot that can be done there. Improvement wise on his part, but there's a lot can be done with his character as well from SHW. The big kid, the big black guy that was in that battle royal,
Austin Towers.
Austin Towers. That was his debut. He'd never been at SHW before until that night. So, yeah.
Well, I tell you what, man, the way that he performed during that was, especially for a big guy on an independent scale, on an independent show, because so many big guys don't know how to work big. They don't know how to protect their size. Can you imagine Kane, doing a Hurricane Rana, or Kane doing, just for the sake of doing a Hurricane Rana? Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Right.
Can you imagine Kane being, given the forearm by Ashton Starr, and he takes a bump? That's not going to happen.
You're a monster. Be a monster.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to be a monster, and in that match, he was a monster. I don't think he ever left his feet, and I loved it. I enjoyed it. It's like, whoa, wait a minute, something. Anytime you see something that happens the way it's supposed to happen and tells a nice, complete story, you kind of pop for it. My favorite part of the match was Johnny Swinger.
Yeah.
That was a surprise. We didn't know he was going to be there till the last minute. Yeah,
dude, Johnny is only like 46 years old or something like that. I swear it's like, what was the guy named Mike Jackson that he wrestled? The older guy.
Oh yeah,
Mike Jackson?
that's
Oh,
right.
yeah,
I remember
yeah, yeah.
that.
We saw it at
It's-
Impact
it's-
in Atlanta not too long ago. Well, back in January, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. That it was hilarious. It reminds me every time I see him, I think of that match, and he's comedic at this point, and he understands that, and he embraces that, and that's the key part to getting over, is embracing your role, embracing what you do, and there's no shame in it, and I was telling Ashton the same thing. Embrace it the more, remember we were talking about it earlier. Guys come out, they're a gimmick when they walk out, but then they're in the ring and you don't see any more of that gimmick.
Right.
You don't see any more of that character.
Right.
Give me some of that in the ring. I can't come to the ring as a boxer and then get in the ring and I don't do no boxing punches, or I don't do no foot shuffle at some point,
Yeah.
I don't do no dance. Like, you gotta have some of that in the ring to put over who you are. So, and then there was another kid that me and Ricky was talking about. Y'all call him Rick, I call him Ricky. I say Ricky, you say Rick. But we were talking backstage, and again, thankfully AC did hit me up, because I would have been back there talking to Rick all day long, which is always fun. But I did want to catch some of the wrestling. I'm glad I did. But we were talking about the one kid that was I think he won the Battle Royal.
Joe Black.
Joe Black.
Yeah. Nice bill, nice look, nice energy, nice work. And I would have liked to have seen more of him in a one-on-one match. And who knows? And there's two more people that I really dug. One was the gentleman that kept hitting all the spears on everybody.
Gunner Miller.
Probably
Gunner, that's his name,
Yeah.
Gunner, I thoroughly enjoyed.
Yeah.
I enjoyed him because everything he did had intent.
Yes.
It looked like it hurt.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way wrestling is supposed to look. And more importantly, the most impressive thing, him being a football player and me playing football as well, when he delivered a spear, he didn't try to freaking flip with it. Who the hell flips when they do a spear?
Right.
Where's the impact if you're flipping? This is what I'm saying. This is where we're at now. We're in cool mode. Everything got to be cool. Good Lord, I've never seen so much flipping and doggone wrestling since I was a kid on a darn trampoline. Like, it's just flip. Everything got to be a flip.
Well, the Canadian Destroyer is like the new leg drop. Like, I feel like everybody does that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, don't
Way
even talk
overused.
about it. And it's nothing wrong with it, but here's the issue with it. Even the leg drop was beating people.
Right.
The Canadian Destroyer ain't beating nobody.
It was
right.
when Petey Williams was doing it early in TNA, but not
That's-
It
anymore.
was special.
It was special then.
Yeah.
But now the Canadian Destroyer is just a move. It's beating nobody. A leg drop was beating people.
Right. You're
And
right.
now you hit a Canadian Destroyer, and 5 seconds later the person's up running the rope.
yeah.
Not even holding their neck, holding their head. It's pointless. It's absolutely pointless. It's ridiculous. And it makes me feel like, gosh, like I know I'm 17 years in, going on 18. So it's like, man, I guess I'm becoming that vet guy now, And I understand the changes in wrestling. One thing in wrestling that does not change is psychology, because you can't have wrestling without psychology.
Right.
So and that's lacking really bad. It was kind of like when I saw the finish of the Keith Lee. I don't know who approved that. Big fan of Keith Lee, and certainly a fan of the individual himself. We had a chance to talk. He's with the former future Mrs. Pope. I wasn't too happy about that, but he's a good guy, so he'll take care of her. But anyways, yeah, that's my old blue, Mia Yim. That's my blue.
Ah, gotcha.
I used to say on commentary all the time, that's the future Mrs. Pope right there. Now she's the former.
Yes, I got you.
Good stuff. Good stuff, Lee.
Oh.
But so I saw the match. Yeah. Oh, I didn't know they were together. Yeah, they are. So the match took place with him and Killer Cross, Karrion.
Oh,
Cross.
yes.
And anybody know why they changed his name to Karrion?
I don't know why.
I'll tell you why.
I was going to say,
Because
do you know, or were you just speculating, or do we know?
Oh, no. Well, I mean, Pope don't speculate. Pope has the prophetic capability, dog.
My bad. Of course.
So every now and then I go out on my prophetic capability. So which one of you have your phone by you? Which one of you have your phone?
I've got one right here.
So I'm gonna talk, and then all of a sudden you look up Karrion, both of you. Karrion.
Okay. All right.
Karrion. So anyways, during that moment of signing Killer Cross, they wanted to keep him Killer Cross, but they had to figure out, well, wait, we can't use the term killer. We won't be able to market that. We won't be able to, use that, but we still like that double K. We like the double K, so we want to stick with the K. So that they decided to come up with Karrion. Somebody came up with Karrion. What does Karrion mean?
That's what I'm looking right now.
There's a lot of Karrion Cross that pops up, so I'm scrolling down to find out.
I didn't say Karrion Cross. I said
I didn't
Karrion.
I didn't type in Cross,
right.
but I'm just saying you type in Karrion, and that's who pops up. So I'm trying to find what the the word means here.
There's a bunch of different stuff here, and I'm trying to find the actual meaning of this name.
It's with a C, not it's with a C.
Ah, okay.
Carrion.
Oh,
we
that's
do
why.
that.
I spelled it with a K.
Yeah.
But they just put the K on it.
I got you.
There's one that's a video game, and then
You got Wikipedia, right?
yeah, there we go.
There you go.
Oh, it is the decaying flesh of dead animals, including human flesh.
Okay.
Mm.
So basically, if something is decaying, it's what? It's dead. Right?
Yeah.
And therefore, we're going to, instead of go with killer, we'll go with Karrion, but we'll put a K on it. Because the first thing they did, they had to try to find a synonym for killer.
Yeah.
And that's been done time and time again up there when they want to make things. So they just say, well, we'll go with Karrion. That means, dead. Some had to kill it, so we'll go with that, and we'll just put the K on it. And that's where Karrion came from.
Wow.
Huh.
Wow.
Well,
That makes sense.
Yeah. Dead. You kill something, it's dead, so we'll go
And
with
it's
Karrion.
optically better than killer. So,
Better than killer. Spell it with a K. Nobody ever think anything of it. And
you're right.
nobody will unless they're a pope.
Nobody's going to look it up till the Pope tells them to look it up on their phone. And then
Right.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
that's where that name, trust me, I've been up there where we were trying to figure out whether it's a name for a move or something. It's like, no, you can't use that. No, we can't do that. No, we can't. And so find something that's a little more product friendly or find something. And so you have to look up the synonyms. And I'm telling you, I'm sure if he didn't do it himself, some of the writers came up with some different stuff that had to do with death, with killing and whatnot. And they came up with Karrion. And then they all probably said, well, let's just spell it with a K. Karrion. That sounds cool.
There you go.
Wow.
Karrion Cross. So just like they took the cross and spelled it with a K, we'll go with a K. So anyways, back to the match at hand. That's just a little bit of Pope education right there for educational purposes. So when you guys are there and they say, no, we can't use that name, somebody else got that name, but find something that's similar and then make it.
There you go.
That's the way it always
There you go.
has happened. Yeah. So you got Karrion Cross and Keith Lee for that championship before Keith Lee debuts on Raw. And they do the finish where did you watch that match on NXT where the finish?
I sure did. Yeah.
I did not.
Did you? Okay, so Karrion has to hit his Saidoplex
Right.
on Keith Lee, and he's trying to set that up. Don't ever say you didn't. Just don't acknowledge. It's like you've been on commentary. You don't even know. I didn't see it. GP is sitting there saying, "Hey man, did you see that move? What a move!" You freaking turn and go, "I know, I agree with you 100%." You don't say I didn't see it. The hell. Get together. No, that's real talk. Okay, there were several times when things happened with me and Josh, on the Impact commentary, and Josh may say something, or I may say something that neither one of us knew what was what, but I 100% agree with you, partner.
Yeah.
Good eye. That's what you do.
I love it.
So, anyways, Booker. So
Yes.
Karrion is on the middle rope with Keith Lee, who's 300 plus pounds. Both of these guys are huge guys. What I didn't like about the finish, and I don't know where I'm going. I think I was talking about psychology or something to that effect.
Yeah.
But when things are just being done just for the sake of being done, because we was talking about moves, we was talking about that doggone Canadian Destroyer. Right. So all of a sudden, the finish will come after Karrion hits the Saitoplex off the middle rope. But the setup to get there, and the assistance, and the Keith Lee holding to make sure that he's right, and it's like we could have got there better.
Yeah, I agree.
With both guys trying to be, it was just, I hate when things are being done to try to get where you want to go, and it's just so obvious.
Right.
It's just obvious. It's like, it's kind of like when Ric Flair would literally have to turn a person over in the figure four because they were taking too long to turn over. The person is still on their back and Ric Flair is halfway on his stomach.
Right.
Come on, let's get going. So
flip over.
That's my point there. That's my point about it's being done just for the sake of.
Totally understand. I want to ask you this before we go. The last time most folks have seen you on TV has been in the NWA. And with all the rebirth of the NWA Power, et cetera, obviously they've been impacted by there's that word impact again. They've been impacted by
impacted by everything except Impact. Go ahead.
Exactly.
There you go.
Exactly. So with their rebirth coming and things, are you heading back to the NWA? What does that look like for you?
It is a slow process. Myself and our president, Billy Corrigan, have been in contact. We've been, maintaining updates with one another. So from all perspectives, everything will realign. Okay. And because right now they got this whole new thing that they've started out in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
See what, and so Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. So we're kind of letting things pick back up, and it certainly is the plan. That's the plan. And me and him, after speaking, without trying to go into it too much, sure. It's just thumbs up on both ends, and it's just a waiting game right now. So.
I'm excited for whenever it is that it comes back, or if Power finally comes back, because we were going to the tapings of the GPB studios, and I went to a couple of pay-per-views there, and man, it was a blast, and it was just a cool old school feel, and so I'm excited if and when it ever comes back, the Power tapings, that is. But I am looking forward to the stuff in the Championship Wrestling in Hollywood. I'm looking forward to that as well.
Well, and thank you. Here's what I liked about that. I, like you, were watching it. Mm-hmm. And having a blast. Yeah. I thought when it came out, not just because of the old school feel, and maybe more so because of that, but just the whole setup, the whole atmosphere. It was back to wrestling 101.
Yeah. Right.
And so it was actually a nice break from the regular routine of wrestling that you were seeing. Right. And it gave you something that you can sit back and just kind of sink your teeth into. It was 42 to 45 minutes at most, and then the commercials themselves were hella entertaining.
Yes.
It wasn't no darn Zaxby's or McDonald's trying to get you to go buy their latest, deal. So it was very, very good to watch. And so when I had always been in contact with Lagana, Dave Lagana, You guys know the deal there.
Yes.
He's the vice president, so we talked, and we just stayed in contact. And then again, once the time was right, it was like, let's make it happen, and that's what we did. So I enjoyed it. All the guys, the atmosphere was like none other. Everybody just worked super hard, and there was no big eyes, there was no little U's.
Mm-hmm.
There were just a team of guys that wanted to go out and make this product work, and it was really gaining steam, man. It was really gaining a lot of steam.
Yeah.
Turning heads.
Well, I love it. And I look forward to it coming back, like I said, full force at some point. But one more thing, and I know we got to wrap up here pretty soon, but
I'm going to watch the playoffs, brother.
all right, I got you. I just want to real quick, coming from a commentator perspective, as you know that we call commentary for SHW, and I know that you've been in the commentary game for quite some time, along with the wrestling, but any kind of big advice for commentary guys like us, like any kind of big advice, words of advice you might give us?
Well, just from listening to the both of you speak here, you're both well spoken. Obviously, I already gave you a bit of advice, and that's just to agree when you don't agree, and don't agree for the sake of agreeing. If you actually saw something that you didn't agree with, that maybe Booker loved and agreed with, and you disagree with him.
Yeah.
There's nothing more unfreaking that you just I can't dig, is to sit and listen to 2 to 3 commentators all agree on the same freaking thing. That is just like, I don't want to hear that. We don't hear that in football. We don't hear that with NBA commentators.
Right.
A foul call is made. Scott Van Gundy, or Jeff Van Gundy, they speak their mind.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a challengeable play, or there was a bad call. And that's what we want to hear, that even on podcasts.
Yeah.
I would tell my main man, comment over on Pope's Point of View, I would say, don't agree with me because I'm Pope. If you got a mindset that's different from mine, you have your own opinion, state it, let it be known. Don't get in an argument, know when to move on. But if you disagree, you disagree. That's why I love Bobby Heenan. That's why I love Mr. Perfect. That's why I love the Macho Man on commentary. I certainly love Jesse Ventura, because they had their own mind, and they didn't agree. And I don't know which one of you are color. Obviously, GB is as far as looks, but I don't know which one.
I love it.
I don't know which one of you, if there's color commentary going on, but if so, then certainly be that color guy.
Yes, absolutely.
Add to the people in the ring, add to their character, know who their character are before they come out there. Ask them, is there anything that they want you in particular to say or get over, and try to, main thing is try to tell their story with them. They're out there, they're painting on the canvas. You tell the people what they're seeing that's being painted.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest advice I can give.
That's
absolutely
awesome. I appreciate that, man. And I know all the wrestlers that were that saw you at SHW the other night. Everybody was talking about how you gave such great advice, and you were willing to listen to a lot of people and guys asking questions and critiquing their matches. And that's just awesome of you to do that. And we appreciate you coming out to the show, and we definitely appreciate you joining us right here on the SHW This Is Our Wrestling podcast, ladies and gentlemen, the Pope.
Absolutely.
Well, I appreciate it.
Well,
go ahead, GB.
I was going to say, before you go, by all means, let everybody know how they can reach out to you by way of social media, website, all that type of information.
Well, guys, you can follow me on Instagram and on Twitter at DA, Black Pope. That's just a black thing. So, Black Pope, DA Black Pope, as well as you can follow me on Facebook at Elijah Burke, facebook.com/Elijah Burke. You can find me there. You send me messages. I definitely will get to them, as I always try to do. And you can also listen to me on Pope's Point of View, which is available on all podcast platforms. Just type in Elijah Burke or Pope's Point of View, and it'll come up. We got some great episodes over there waiting. I think I'm nearing half a century mark here. And also, on Pope's Pope TV for You. That's Pope TV, the number 4 and the letter U on YouTube. We got some never before seen footage and some original content on there. So be sure to go check that out.
Awesome. Well, since I botched the close there a second ago, let me try it one more time. I appreciate you getting all the plugs in there.
Before you get to the close, let me say my close and let me thank you guys first for having me on. It was a blast. I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to show you in the skin, Brandon. I know you were really looking forward to that. But maybe when Pope come back down to SHW, you'll get a lot more in person, okay? Awesome. But it was a blast. Thank you guys for being professional, for being entertaining as well to your company. GB, again, a pleasure, man. Didn't know you and we had mutual friends in Jerome Murray. Yes. So that's pretty cool, man. And I look forward to seeing you guys again when I'm back in Atlanta. I hope that there's a show going on, and if it's going on, then your boy may come swing through. If not, then I'll probably see maybe in October when I go to Rick's show.
Well, just saying, moving forward, it's first Friday of every month. So August was a little funky date because we were just coming back from the pandemic. But normally, first Friday of every month. So just FYI.
Tenfold.
Awesome. Well, thank you, buddy. We appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Wow, what an amazing interview and conversation with the Pope, Elijah Burke. Man, that was incredible. My gosh, what a wealth of information he is.
What a guy. I mean, I'm still blown away that, we should feel honored that he agreed to come on with us. I couldn't believe it.
I'm very honored because, considering he doesn't do very many interviews these days, so that said a lot about what he thought about us and what he thought about the SHW product itself. So
exactly.
Very much an honor to have him here with us.
Yeah, and he's got his own podcast, as you heard on the show. So, I mean, that's, obviously, why would he go on a bunch of other podcasts? He's got his own podcast to give his opinion on the world of wrestling. But you know what? I got to give props to GB because, honestly, I think this all happened because of you. Had you not gone backstage and had the Booker T WrestleMania hair, and he saw you because when I hit him up online, I sent him a message, and I told him, I'm B-Double, GB. Then I explained that GB was the guy with the Booker T hair. Boom. Right away, he was like, all right, yes, I'll come on the show.
Wow. That's kind, man. That story was hilarious, and it literally cracked me up because I just, I don't like to ever disturb people. I was just going to go in the back, and if I saw him maybe hi, I had no idea that he would notice me that way, and it would just hit things off really well. So that was awesome.
Yeah, what a great guy. And I hope you guys enjoyed that interview. If you're, like I said, an up-and-coming wrestler, if you're on a wrestler on the SHW roster, a lot of the stuff he said during the interview, it's just such great information to take with you. And he gave us some great advice for commentary guys as well. So
did.
We're on cloud nine right now. It was just such a fun interview. So.
And what a great wealth of information as we're going into, of course, our 2-year anniversary, and we know that's going to be an incredible show. And so we're all looking to get better. We're all looking to improve at what we do. And so it's always amazing when you get an industry veteran who's willing to sit down and share. And, that's just what he shared with us on the air. Like with the wrestlers and things, he talked quite a bit and had some good one-on-one time with them. So what a wealth of information. And that was his first SHW show. So that's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome.
But, hey, we will be back at our normal time this coming week. We'll be back on Friday with another special guest. And, I guess it's going to do it for this week. Until then, this has been SHW.
This is our wrestling.